Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Do you want massive momentum, major money, and magnetic millionaire energy in your business and bank account? If you had an expert you trusted lay out a proven strategy for you, step by step, to get you to consistent $20,000 to $50,000 months without burning yourself out, would you do it? And this, my loves, is why I created the brand new, ultra exclusive ProjectME with Tiffany Carter Mastermind Live Experience 2021. Picture 2 days with my crazy ass hanging out at a multi-million-dollar oceanfront beach house, mapping out exactly how you will get to your next big income goal with absolute clarity. There will be VIP beach photo shoots, a sunset abundance cocktail hour, plus other luxuriating surprises. Now, this is strictly by application only, as I will be hand selecting 15 of you who I feel are the perfect fit for this mastermind experience and will get a significant return on investment from attending. For all the details and pricing and to apply, go to projectmewithtiffany.com/mastermind. projectmewithtiffany.com/mastermind. The link is also in my bio on Instagram at projectmewithtiffany. And of course, you can DM me with any questions if you aren't 100% sure if this is the right fit for you right now. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and posse. I'm your host, Tiffany, and today there's going to be a really long overdue conversation that you for sure need to hear. God, it's a conversation that if I heard it and I was in the right space, things would have completely changed in my life. Many of you don't know that it took me 10 years to start ProjectME with Tiffany Carter. I had the idea, I had the logo, I had the concept, I had the cash. You know, a lot of you use the excuse of like, oh, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy. Well, I had all of it and I still didn't start it. And it's all the stuff that comes up in our minds and how we actually are the ones who are blocking ourselves from having the exact life we want, but we project it on so many other things, including a lot of you do it with your kids. Oh, when my kids are older, when my kids go back to school. And these are all just really clever excuses that our ego, our critical mind has come up with, so that we don't do the damn thing because it is terrifying and it is scary. And this is going to be a refreshingly honest conversation that you're not going to find anywhere else for sure on any podcast. Because most people, as you know, do some high level motivational circle talk, which we're not available for that shit. So I brought on my friend, a beautiful life coach. She also does media coaching and video coaching. She's a former TV newscaster. So we're part of the club of the underpaid former TV newscasters. Colleen Odegaard, welcome to the show.
That's right. In the house, no longer underpaid. Thank you very much.
It's so funny. I love saying that to people. They're like, I don't understand. Like, I thought anyone who's on TV is paid a lot of money. I go, well, yes, there are. Either you're paid a crap ton or almost nothing, period.
That is 100% true. How much did you make at your first TV news job? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do remember. I made $15,500 a year. And then when I was even there was one that might be equivalent. When I did the red carpet reporting for E! Entertainment, I think it was $10 an hour.
And no one would believe that, right? They think it's so glamorous. And oh my gosh, you're on the red carpet talking to the celebrities. Yeah, getting your $10 an hour. No one would believe it, but it's absolutely true.
It was funny. It was like people I could not afford. So when my first gig at NBC in Yakima, Washington, for those of you guys who are in Washington, it's actually a pretty legit size news market. You know, I wasn't fully starting, I was at E before then, but they brought a Nordstrom to town. And this was like a big deal, right? Well, my ass was shopping at I don't think there was a Kohl's, but it was I was broke. Like I had Payless, like the BOGO, like the buy one, get one Payless shoes. And there was a Nordstrom and I was like, I'm going to get like my anchor suit. Like I'm going to do this. And I had to save up for a long time to buy that damn suit.
I believe it.
It was a moment though. I was like, I'm wearing a fancy suit.
I've arrived. I've arrived. I've got my suit.
How much did you make in your first job?
The first one was Laredo, Texas, and I made $5 an hour. This is right after I graduated from high school or college. I'm sorry. Right after I graduated from college, I moved to Laredo, Texas. I was anchoring, producing, and editing the morning and noon newscast, and I made $5 an hour. And then I went to Lubbock, Texas, and I made $15,000 a year. And then I went to Salinas, California. I started there at $25,000 a year,
which was a big deal. You're rich.
Yes. Yeah.
That's hysterical. You know, I don't know that I know a lot of stuff about you, but I don't know this about you. How did you end up becoming a TV journalist? Was it that you always knew you wanted to be and you kept going for it, or did you fall into it? How did that happen?
I'm so glad you asked me that question because it kind of brings us into what we're talking about today. The true answer to that question, how did I get into TV journalism? I wish I had a noble reason that it was because I wanted to share people's stories and I had this calling on my heart and it was to serve, but that would be a lie. I got into TV journalism because I wanted people to like me. I wanted to be special. I thought being on TV would somehow make me special and different from other people. And because I was so insecure and didn't like myself, I needed acceptance from the masses. And TV seemed like a good way to do that. And which is so ironic, isn't it? Because I was so insecure, yet I get into this field where you're very public and you're in front of everybody, and yet I liked it because I liked the accolades. I liked people to know I wanted people to know me. So that's what got me into it. It's not why I stayed in it. I did it for almost 30 years. I quit, got out of television not even a year ago. But the reason I stayed in it, my reasons changed, I'm glad to say. But initially, no, it wasn't like I had this burning desire to be a journalist. I just wanted people to like me.
And what happened when people didn't and you had people email in or write in and were nasty? Because this happens right in the online space now too. A lot of people get into having a personal brand or a podcast, or I want to be an influencer for similar reasons initially. And then it feels good when you're getting the hype, you're getting the validation, whether the validation is cash, followers, likes, comments, compliments, whatever. But then what happens when you get the opposite?
Mm-hmm. It used to derail me for days. It would take me out for days, Tiff. I'm not kidding you. It would, if, everyone could say, you look good in red. Red's your color. And one person might say, I hate you in red. You look awful. Never wear that sensible suit again, that sensible anchor suit again. And that would take me down. If people commented on, I don't like your hair. Your hair's too long. Your hair's too short. Have you gained weight? You look like you've gained weight. Why have you gotten so fat? Things like that. And I would crumble. I'd fall to pieces. And we used to have to meet with image coaches. I'm sure you did this over the years in broadcasting, where the station would hire an image consultant and they take you shopping or they tell you what to wear. And I remember bracing myself for those meetings. I'd go in and I was ready to do battle. I was like, what's this lady going to say to me? And I was sizing her up in my mind to kind of feel better about myself. I mean, these are your listeners don't know me, but I mean, I'm so not this person today, which is, and in part it's coaching and therapy and having friends like you that have gotten me to this place. But it was terrible. So how I learned to deal with that at the end of the day is really to love myself and strongly opinionate about myself, so that if you don't like me, you don't like what I said, you don't like what I did, you don't like how I look, it might still hurt. It will still hurt, but I can bounce back more quickly. I can go, ouch, ooh, wonder what's going on for her. More to do with her than it does with me. I'm moving on. Now, that's a process to get to that point. These people who say they don't care what anybody thinks, I never buy that. I don't believe that. We all do care. If we didn't care what anybody thought, we wouldn't put on cute outfits and put our lip gloss on when we left the house. We wouldn't do that. We care what people think. The goal is to not give these random people, prime real estate in your heart. That is what I learned how to do. I care what you think, Tiffany, because you're my friend, but you've also been my coach and you're a mentor to me. I care what you think of what I'm doing professionally. I care what my pastor thinks. I care what my best friends think. Beyond that, I've learned to let it go.
Yeah. And I love that you said anyone's like, I don't care what anyone thinks. That's not true. I mean, listen, I get wild things sent to me in my DMs. And the difference now is they sting. It's like, oh God. And that doesn't feel good. Someone saying, because I love dancing, and it's like, women's bodies, like I can be 8 pounds heavier tomorrow. Like, I don't know why God did that, but that's just how it is.
Terrible.
And so some days I'm like, look at my abs. And other days I'm like, what's happening? But I show up regardless. I don't just show up when I feel my abs look good. And there'll be comments like no one needs to see your gut. And that's 2%.
Right.
The rest is, oh my God, this made me smile today. Oh, I love that throwback song. Mm-hmm. Get it, girl. It does still sting, but it doesn't consume my day. Like, maybe sits with me for maybe an hour. It depends. Mm-hmm. Maybe an hour, it kind of sits in there and then it floats away.
Yes. I like to actually visualize things like that floating away from me. Like, see the, oh, no one needs to see all that. See those words. And if it has a shape or a color or an energy about it, and I like to ball it up and put it in a helium balloon and then let go of the balloon and let it float away. Imagery helps me. I like doing that because, what you just said, how it sticks with you for about an hour. That's probably what I'm averaging too now. If I get something that's, but it used to be in TV, it would take me out for days, but now I'm older and wiser and I've done the work and I continue to do the work. And it does get easier if you're intentional about opinionating about yourself and loving yourself.
What is amazing to me is how, and all of us do it. All of us, no matter where you're from, what country, what background, what race, what gender, we keep ourselves from going after the things that we want. And everyone does it in a little different way, right? There's some people, some of you almost pretend you don't have any major wants or desires. So I'll hear from you, I'm sure I do have a greater purpose. I don't know what it is. I'm confused. I'm stuck. I don't have any idea what that is. I used to say that too, by the way. I really didn't know. And I would buy any book or go to any seminar or anything that said find your purpose, discover your why or whatever. I really believed I didn't know. I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel when we are quiet enough with ourselves, I think everyone has a dream of something in their heart and their soul that they know they want to do. What do you think?
I totally agree. I don't buy it when people say, yeah, no, it's all perfect and great. And I don't want anything else. I don't believe that. And something now I try to get my clients to not say, I don't know, or I'm confused. If they say, I don't know, I'll say, okay, let's try again. Let's try again, because you do know. So don't cop out by saying, I don't know. It is
a cop out.
It is a cop-out. We're afraid because you said it took you had the resources to start ProjectME with Tiffany, and it took you 10 years. You could have done it a lot sooner, and you didn't but you knew you wanted to. It was gnawing away at you. Anytime we have something that's gnawing away at our hearts and it festers, and you just keep getting these hits of it. And you just think, and you push it away like, no, I don't want to do that. That was me with my business. That was me with life coaching. I stayed in TV way longer than I should have. I wanted to quit years ago, but I was too scared. I thought people think life coaching's weird. It sounds froofy and hippy dippy and weird. And it's kind of a weirdo dodo title, life coach. What does that mean? And I've got my steady paycheck. I started to make a lot more than $25,000 by the time I was done with my TV career. So I did stay for, a lot of reasons, but I knew I wanted to do it, but I was too scared because I thought my life doesn't look perfect. Who am I to go out and be a life coach? What are people going to say about me? So it's why it comes back to doing this kind of work. So yes, I think that we all have that in us and we just tend to ignore it or hide behind, I don't know, and I'm confused.
Yeah. And ask yourself this question and answer it. Like, what is it costing you to not be terrified and explore that thing that's on your heart anyway? I'll tell you what it cost me. It cost 10 years. It cost me lack of fulfillment, depression. I went to kill myself. I felt kind of like I was just blowing in the wind in the world. Like I didn't feel grounded, excessive anxiety. And, tangibly, I lost a lot of time, energy, and cash because I was going with what felt safe and familiar. I was choosing that over the other because I feel most of us were taught early on, and then shit in society really compounds it, that to be successful, there has to be a trade-off. There has to be great sacrifice. Do you think there has to be great sacrifice to be successful in doing something you love?
I don't anymore, but you helped me get there. I mean, you don't even know I'm going to say this, but something you've said on your podcast many times that really resonates with me is, we're not available for hard. And it doesn't, the belief that you used to have growing up in the Midwest and that, work ethic, and we're going to do this and we're going to buckle in and we're going to work hard in 14-hour days. And that's what the world tells us, right? And I learned that in television for sure. You work long hours whenever they need you. And I hated it. I mean, I really hated it. And when you say, we're not available for hard, this belief that we have to work 14-hour days to make any money, I started to change that belief. And as I started to change that belief, I was able to get paying life coaching clients. And I couldn't believe it, doing work that I love.
I remember when you couldn't believe it. You texted me. I love when my clients do that, because it's like, I don't take it personally. It's not that you didn't trust what I was teaching you would work. It was more like you were shocked for yourself, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I don't think it has to be this terrible sacrifice of, not saying that you're not going to work hard. So, you are wildly successful and you do work hard. I mean, I know you joke about luxuriating, but you do work hard. So it's not that you're not working hard, but that struggle, that depletion of your soul and your energy, it's not like that. It's when you're in your zone and you're doing your thing and you're in flow and the anointing comes over you, and then you do it with energy and more ease. It's not that you won't be up against having to try some hard things. You will, and some shit that's not going to work out, because that's going to happen too. You just get up and you do it again. But no, I don't think that it has to be this. I think we make it harder than it is. We get like, I did that that IGTV live and no one bought my webinar. No one came to my webinar, or didn't get me any leads, or this happened. And oh my gosh. And then we're like, and then we spin out in that and complain about it and just keep complaining about it, instead of just going, okay, that's data for me. All right. What else could I have done? Start asking yourself some better questions. Right.
Yeah.
And answer those questions. Really think about it. That will get you closer to where you need to be. But no, this whole thing, it's got to suck the life out of you. No, I don't believe that. Well, who wants that life?
Well, but I also think that's a covert way Our egos will build a case for you again to not go after the thing. We can really build a case. It's so hard. Oh my God. And then you start looking for evidence that it's hard. My uncle, Joey, he wrote a book and he became a recluse and had to write for, 15 hours a day somewhere and he lost his marriage from it. It's like, we can build this case that it's going to be so hard, which is a very sneaky way that your ego is preventing you from doing it, because who wants to do anything that sounds that miserable?
That's right. That's why we have to observe our thoughts. That's why we have to call our ego out for what it's doing to us and recognize, whoa, like I have this belief that to start my own life coaching business or my own, whatever it is that you want to do, ask someone out on a date, try a new exercise class, start a business, whatever it is, it's going to be so awful. It's going to be so hard. And it's going to require all of this of me. Well, wait a minute. Notice that is your brain thinking that. If anyone who meditates knows how to do this, you know how to witness your thoughts. You know how to observe your thoughts. These are just things that are swimming around up in your head. Are they even true? Is that true that you have to? I had a belief, and I think, Tiffany, I told you this. I had a belief that life coaching wasn't a real thing, that wasn't a real job.
Yes, you did say that.
And I kept saying that over and over again. Well, that's not a real job. Then I started to look at people who are life coaches who make a living as a life coach. And I thought, okay, so is that even true? Like they're living as a life coach because these other people are out in the world doing that. If it's true for them, then it can be true for me too. And I started to practice believing that. And when I say practice, it really is a practice. It's hard to go from thinking it's not a thing to, yeah, I'm going to go make $1 million. It's hard to go from there, but just starting to pay attention to, yeah, other people are doing this. I can do it too. Notice what your mind is telling you. That our mismanaged minds cause our suffering and keep us from creating lives that we want. Our mismanaged minds keep us from going after our dreams. When you ask me, when people say like, oh no, there's nothing else I want to do, or I don't know what it is, that is not true. It simply isn't true. They do know if they can quiet down their mind. That's why I believe so wholeheartedly in spiritual practices, really, to kind of calm that down, to stop looking at everybody else. We need more of us living from that place in us. You know what I'm saying? We need more people. We need more people like you out in the world who are going and living from their truest self and helping others along the way. I really believe that.
I want you guys to know, like, Colleen was terrified. And guess what? She got the support. So she made sure she had support. She wasn't just relying on her own damn self, because that's dangerous. And she showed up and did it anyway. I was still terrified. And it wasn't about, like I said, my thing wasn't about money. Most people use the money thing. There's money stuff in there. Like that more comes up now. When I'm like, oh, okay, like I want to experiment with, putting out a new product and have an evergreen funnel and all this stuff. And I know how much money I would have to put out for Facebook ads, which any form of advertising, hello, is not a guarantee, right? Mm-hmm. And so that'll scare me, but I do it anyway. What is it costing me to not do it? What is the cost energetically, financially, spiritually, time-wise, mentally to not do it? That amount of weight I had on me for those 10 years, not going after what I really wanted to do, because I said the same thing. Like I saw other people doing it. I bought their books. I watched their stuff. I saw other people doing it and I did what you said. And I'm sure a lot of your clients say the same thing. I went, oh, well, she's like this pretty little blonde thing and I don't look like that. Not that I think I'm ugly, but like, we don't know what ethnicity I am. So we don't know what's going on over here, but I didn't see myself represented out there. I thought my clients from my other company, I was, in the pharmaceutical world, former colleagues from the TV business would be like, who does Tiffany think she is now? Oh, okay. I know her. She's, we partied with her. She snorted cocaine off of a table in a strip club in Vegas back in the day. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
that was preventing me from doing a lot of it. Would you say a lot of your clients, there's a fear of, if I go and take that trip to Paris by myself that I've always dreamed of, or if I start a blog, whatever it is, if I start dating again and my husband died 2 years ago, or I've been divorced for 5 years and I want to date again, but I don't know if my kids are going to be upset, is a lot of what is preventing them of what will they think?
So many of my clients, and I suspect yours too, and probably anybody listening to this, are so paralyzed by what other people think. They're so paralyzed by what will those people think at my company that I left that job. People thought I was nutso to leave my TV career. They thought it seemed very glamorous and exciting. And why would you do that? And worried about what my mom would think. I mean, really, and I'm going to be 51 years old this month and was worried about what my mom is going to think about me quitting my TV career. So yeah, so many of my clients have that. It's what other people think. And we come back to what I was saying, we can't control what anybody is thinking of us. They're already thinking it anyway, whatever they're going to think. That cannot be the thing that keeps you from going after what it is that you want to do. It can't be the thing. You have to keep going. And, it just can't be the reason that you don't try. You can hold space for it and recognize, wow, I am really scared about what other people will think. What is this about? How does this feel in my body? Like, don't ignore it. I'm not saying charge through like, all right, I'm not going to give a shit what anyone thinks, because that's not honoring to yourself. So to notice, I am really worried what the people from my hometown are going to think. I'm really worried about what my colleagues are going to think. I'm really worried about what my kids are going to think. Wow, that is so interesting. What about it has me so concerned? What am I thinking they're going to think? So let's say they thought that. Okay, so then what? Play around with it. Poke at it a little bit. Spend some time with it. It kind of helps you to soften the grip on it so it's not so hard and solid in your heart and like a real obstacle. That's what I think allows you to go, okay, I am scared what they're going to think, and I'm going to do this anyway because I really want to.
It's not that the fear goes away, and it's not that you miraculously become ready. So I was the quintessential person. I don't know if it's a Virgo thing, because you have two Virgos here, by the way. Sorry, not sorry. We live in the land of the overthinking, overanalyzing.
Oh God, yes.
So I said all the time, okay, I'm just not ready yet. I'll know when I'm ready. Like, I really convinced myself and believed it and told people all around me, I'll know when I'm ready. Like, I don't know if I thought like God was going to drop something in front of my face, or I'd wake up one day and go, now it's the time. Never did that happen. It never happened. And I feel like that's a setup too. There's all this cunning, clever stuff our egos do when we're scared. We start building a case towards what others will think. And we make that really big. We build a case of why it won't work, or why it's stupid, or why we're not good enough, or why we're not qualified, or why we're not ready. And we're building a case of why we shouldn't. Why not just experiment building a case with why we should?
Yes. You're feeding the storyline and the drama and building the case against why we can't do something. You're right. You can use your same brain that's feeding you all that stuff, direct it to think something else, make the case for why you should go for it, why you should try. That's 1,000% true. And, that's why I love that you shared this about yourself, because, because I respect you so much in this space. And you're my favorite. I've told you that you're my favorite by far. Like, You should be, I've told you this. I want to see you on the Today Show, on Good Morning America. Like, they need to be talking to you. It's crazy that they haven't interviewed you yet, but because you're so real and you talk about this, that you were scared too. And that you talk about your limiting beliefs. And I think that frees other people up, because we look at you and we think Tiffany has, limiting beliefs. What? No way. No, she doesn't. So it helps other people when you share that.
And when I share it too, and when you guys share it, it takes its power away. I think that's when I finally said to myself, this is way too hard to show up as a representative of myself online. I was showing up as newscaster Tiffany or job interview Tiffany. And I was like, this isn't fun. That's too much work. And when I just said, like, screw it, I'm going to show up as me. Number one, it was so freeing, but I did see how it was freeing other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told you, Colleen, that I rented a very, very pricey oceanfront beach house for 4 months starting September 1st. I rented it through my company because I have some in-person things planned for you guys. But I had a lot of stuff come up. I mean, how much I'm paying a month was how much I made in a year in my first job. I mean, it's a lot. This is a lot of money. It seems extravagant.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm all about luxury, but this seems like extravagant. Who do you think you are? When I do new things, new scary things, I have all those thoughts come up, and I do the same thing like we were talking about. Like, okay, well, you don't have to do it. What's the cost of not doing it?
Mm-hmm.
My cost is I would be really sad if, God forbid, something happened to me or I got sick or whatever, and I never did my dream that I've had probably since I was in middle school, to have a beach house where, an oceanfront beach house. And that would be sad. It'd be a regret.
Mm-hmm. So that's why you do it. That's right. And so I hope that is encouragement to your listeners, that whatever the thing is for you, if it's, a beach house, or if it's whatever small step that you want to take that you're not taking because your limiting beliefs are in the way, or the fear of what other people will think, or the fear of it failing, not working out, like, just watch what you're saying to yourself. If you get nothing else out of anything that we've talked about, I really think that it boils down to that. Watch what you say to yourself. Watch their words. Not every thought you think is true. They're simply not. So be careful of that. You can, as Tiffany said, make the case for your dreams. Make the case for the things you want to do. And that's why when women in particular, when I hear them beating up on themselves for sport, almost, whether it's their body or I'm not talented like you. Oh, I'm not fancy like Tiffany. I'm not a speaker. I don't know how to do this. It breaks my heart, because I think you're selling yourself so short. You're way cooler and way more remarkable than you think you are. Like, you just got to tap into that. It is within you. And even if you don't get to, let's say you've got this dream, like you're going to start this business, or you're going to do this thing, or you're going to make this amount of money. Even if you don't get to that, who you become as you're pursuing it is pretty damn cool. Like, you'll meet interesting people along the way. You'll have some interesting experiences. You will grow. You will expand. And that's way more fun. That's what I want people to do, to sort of expand their hearts, expand their lives, remain open to what's possible, instead of shutting in and going inward and hiding and be like, okay, well, other people can tell their stories and write books, but I can't do that. Yes, you can. 1,000% you can. And I say that I'm like Tiffany in that I thought I couldn't do this either. I swear to you. And people would say, we're on TV for 30 years. What do you mean you can't show up? No, because I was talking about other stuff. I wasn't talking about me. I wasn't talking about my heart and my ideas and my insecurities. And now I am. And now I'm helping other people work through that. And it's amazing what happens when you start feeding yourself a different story and you start believing different stuff. You show up differently in your life. In every way. It makes your relationships richer and enhances them. It makes what could seem mundane far more interesting. That's what I believe. I believe it wholeheartedly.
Why do you think that we've talked about this offline before. Why do you think that these people out there who are these whatever we want to call them motivational speakers,
Right.
gurus, I
Everyone
don't know
says they're
what
a
the
speaker now. Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
know.
don't know what the right term is, but these public figure motivational people, why do you feel like and there's I mean, I truly can only think of one who's like I love Mel Robbins.
Oh my
So
God, me too. I love her, love
she's
her, love her.
right. She's the only one, and there might be others I'm not aware of, but she's the only one I can think of that like to me brings the real, and she's legit. And why do you think it is that so many people are super fans of a lot of these motivational speaker people who are circle talking, give the fluffy talk, the feel good talk? What why is that such a big business? Why is it working?
Hmm. That's a great question. I don't know because it doesn't resonate with me either, which is one of the reasons I was so drawn to you because it doesn't resonate with me. When people are circle talking, I don't like the bullshit motivation. Like it, I might even sound like that right now. I'm saying, believe you can do it, but it's deeper than that. It's deeper. I don't simply mean just like say you can and then you can. No, it's not that easy. It's a more nuanced and process that takes a lot of time. But I don't know why those people are so popular. I don't get it because I feel like I see right through it. And I think, what have you just told me? You've told me I haven't learned anything from those types of people you're talking about. So I
Right.
don't know. Maybe it's the image that they project. Maybe, it's because the way we've been conditioned culturally to see these people who look a certain way and have just the right pictures and the right
Mm.
packaging, maybe we're just kind of as consumers drawn to that. And I'm not really sure. Do you have an answer to that question? Do you know why?
I think I mean, hello. Like I said, I analyze everything. I mean, really, it's wild up here. It is wild. And I have only child syndrome. And so then that's compounded. So and I'm a strategist. So of course I
Yeah.
look at that and then I back analyze it every which way. I think it's because that's not the hard work. That's the surface work. That's the easier stuff to do. It's not requiring us to go and explore our pain, our deepest insecurities. It is also really not requiring us to take action. So it's kind of like I teach with having inspirational content versus empowering action type content. Inspirational only content is kind of like you're enabling, like you're pacifying. It's okay that you're not taking action and you're settling and you're not going after your dreams. Like, you'll do it when you're ready. That can feel really nice and a temporary soothing to
Yes.
hear that from somebody versus hearing, so what is it you're going to do to change it?
Hmm.
Which one feels kind of almost better to your nervous system? Certainly not okay, well, it's time for us to start thinking different thoughts.
Right. Because like you said, that's the hard work. That's the hard work. When you start to go for what it is that you want in your business, in your personal life, in your life, go for those goals and those dreams. It brings all the shit to the surface, all of the stuff that you're scared to face. And that is the process of the hard work. And that's why I like the teachers who are maybe a little less glitzy, not the sort of the mainstream ones who we all think of in this space. But, I'm obsessed with Pema Chodron, who's an 85-year-old Buddhist nun. She's one of my most profound teachers. Reading her books and listening to her, and she talks so much about sitting with that discomfort, to
Mm.
just sit with it and to learn how to tolerate it. We design our lives to avoid feeling uncomfortable, to avoid feeling pain, like you were talking about earlier. That's why our ego is protecting us. Like, no, we're not going to do that because that's scary, right? So we order our lives around it. So we like a little inspirational, like, feel good kind of stuff. But the actual having to say, yeah, this really sucks. This is not okay with me. This really hurts. That's much harder. And to sit in it, whether it's, I hate my job, it's really sucking my soul dry. I feel like I'm dying inside. It's harder to sit with that than it is to be like, well, at least I've got my PTO days and my 401k and talk ourselves into it, right? When we really want something different. So that's all I suggest too. And I like people to learn how to be able to sit with whatever is uncomfortable, because that's how we move through it. And like uncomfortable stuff happens all the time. You're uncomfortable. You just said that.
Basically, quite frankly, I'm in a state of being generally uncomfortable most times. I'm being serious. And 70% of what I do, I don't feel like doing. Period.
I love when I've heard you say that before, and it makes me feel so much better.
I used to judge myself like, God, I must be really lazy. I mean, I could like stare at a wall and like, I do something that my grandma called pediddling, which is, I don't know if you guys have heard that term, but it's like, basically I like move one stack of papers to another and like organize maybe my pens. And then I like get a coffee and then like 3 hours have gone by and nothing's happened. It's delightful. Really.
Oh, I love to pediddle. I can pediddle with the best of them. I love it too. I love it. And
if I don't have people, places, and things to keep me accountable to the things I genuinely want, not things I think I'm supposed to have, but the things I really, truly want for my life. If I don't set it up with having that accountability, my natural tendency will be to procrastinate, to kind of put it off, to lean into my fear. So that's why I have 3 coaches and a therapist, and I have friends that are also scared and still doing it. Mm-hmm. I mean, what is your thought? And some of you are going to go, well, this is self-serving because Colleen's a life coach. Well, you can think that if you want. Your ego might tell you that, which is another clever thing it's doing, right? But what have you noticed with your clients? Maybe they've never had a life coach or any form of a coach. And they've come to you and they're really saying, hold me accountable and help me make sure I do this thing. Is that what most of them are really doing with you?
Yes, they are. And, really to uncover to work through some of that garbage talk in their minds. A lot of it is that, they come to me for all different kinds of reasons, but always at the heart of it, it's very similar. But yes, the accountability is for sure a big part of it. It's what I do with my clients. It's why I hired you, Tiffany. And for people who are thinking about hiring Tiffany, I would just say, go for it. I know you're like, oh, it's a lot of money. I get it. But if it hadn't been for Tiffany Carter, I don't know that Colleen Odegaard coaching and Wake Up to Your Life would exist. Truly. I mean that. I mean it. And you held my hand through that and held me accountable to do the damn thing. And that made a huge difference for me, and even checked up on me after the fact. And I was just, we all need those people in our lives. So yes, I know it sounds self-serving because I'm a coach. I'm not even saying you got to hire me. That I want you, listener, to get the support you need in whatever form works for you. And I mean that sincerely. I mean that from the marrow of my bones, because you need the right teacher for you. You need the right coach for you. It's a vibe thing. It's a personality thing. I wanted to, I worked with another coach one time who I did not like as a person. It didn't go very well. I didn't like her. We didn't jive. And I was like, okay, not so much with that. So you need to find someone who you vibe with and who's just going to help you work through that. And I can't say enough. Obviously, I'm doing this for a living now. I believe in this work. So I've gone from thinking life coaching isn't a real thing to doing this as my full-time profession. And I love it because I see what it does for people.
Look at the domino effect. Think of this powerful domino effect. I finally, after 10 years, showing up and doing what I knew I was called to do, which is scary when you kind of know that. You kind of almost don't want to know that because that can kind of be freaky in of itself. Like, am I just imagining this? Like, this is an intense feeling. But then I followed through, showed up, kept showing up. Then I help beautiful people like Colleen show up and do her work. Now she's showing up and helping others show up. Look at that domino effect. Think about think about the selfishness really by us staying in our head. And I'm not saying this to shame you, but think of the selfishness. We stay in our head. We're trying to stay safe and protect ourselves and avoid being hurt and criticism and losing friends and upsetting people. And what will people think? Instead of focusing on all the people that we're going to be able to help and then who those people can help and so on and so on. I mean, it really is a domino effect.
It totally is. It really is. And isn't that beautiful? You know, when we do that, when more of us are showing up as ourselves and sharing our struggles in safe places, you know, with people who you can share it with. It's not necessarily right for you to tell everybody all your business all the time, but to share what is difficult, and it helps you have more compassion for other people. It helps them in their difficult time when you can say, girl, I've been there too. I know. And look at me now. Like, it's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And yeah, that's why we need more people doing this kind of work. When there's room for all of us.
Didn't your podcast win like a major freaking award? I forgot the name of the award. What did it win?
Well, it's an award in my town. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte Magazine readers voted it best podcast.
And this is not some, by the way, paid bullshit that I keep seeing out there of like, I'm a top 10 coach, Yahoo Finance. If I see one more bullshit thing like that, I'm going to scream, please, you guys, don't pay for that. You don't need to pay for that.
Don't pay for that. It won't even feel good to you because it's fake. It's not real.
Exactly.
I know somebody who did that. I saw somebody show up in a like coaches to watch kind of thing. I was like, because those same companies sent me that ad.
Of course, I get it. You're going to be featured in Entrepreneur, Yahoo. There's a few Business Insider. There's a few others, and for a fee. And it's like, okay, this is not what we're talking about. So this is someone who wasn't going to do a podcast. And this was a year later, and you got best podcast in Charlotte, genuinely voted on by the public.
Mm-hmm. It's really unbelievable to me. And you're right. It was a podcast that almost didn't happen. You know, it was a podcast that lived in my brain for 3 years before I ever did it. And then when I did it, I wanted to throw up and felt sick to my stomach and did every week when I'd release an episode, I'd get sick. I don't anymore. I'm fine now. But I used to get really, for a good 6 months, I think I would get sick every time I released an episode. And yeah, it almost didn't happen.
Her podcast is linked in show notes, so you can just literally swipe up and the link will be in there.
Thank you.
If you're loving this conversation, you'll absolutely love her show. It's another refreshing. It's just refreshing. It's real. Plus your voice is very relaxing to me. Did people tell you that?
They do. And yours is relaxing to me. And I know
my voice is so annoying, though.
I know you think that. You say that all the time. Your voice is great. I love your voice. I'm drawn to it. I'm
really? Okay, good.
Yes. Oh, yes. But no, thank you. Yes, people do say that to me. I've had some requests to do meditations asking if I would.
I thought you were going to say something else. And I was like, yeah, I bet. Another income stream by Colleen.
Those come in the DMs from the weirdos. Yeah.
Yeah. A meditation or like doing a guided visualization of letting these thoughts go. Yeah. I can really vibe that. I can get down with that. So for people who are like, okay, you know what? I need someone to hold my hand through this, or I know I won't do it. I'll just keep making up more crap. I don't know what I don't know. It's already been years, maybe not 10 years like Tiffany, but I've had this thought for a year, 2 years. I mean, we don't know how long we're here. And I know people say that we can kind of roll our eyes, but like, if you've ever lost anyone, it always reminds you of, we have no idea how long we're here. Would you regret not pursuing this thing a year from now or 5 years from now? And if your answer is, yeah, I would regret at least not pursuing it, then you need to set yourself up with accountability so you show up. Otherwise, that ego, I'm telling you, it is so powerful. If I knew now what I knew then, no, that was opposite. Is that, did I say it
If I
right?
knew then what I know now. If I knew then what I know now.
Okay, thank you. We'll go with that. We know I'm not good with sayings.
Yeah.
I would have gotten a you to help me, right? Uncover these thoughts, help me see that I really believe them as fact. I really did. So I would have needed someone I trusted to unpack that.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believed that in order to have a personal brand, you either had to like have a famous friend, like you'd have hookups.
Yeah.
Or you had to have like this perfect body and had to be like, the person who like has the children in the matching outfits that purees their baby food. And, and then also
All
has
organic.
right. And has like amazing home decor. Like
Yes.
I really believe that. So I would have needed someone to unpack that with me. So how can people apply to work with you or reach out and start a conversation?
Oh, thank you so much. That's the whole, everything you just said. It's why I hired you. I had the same beliefs that you had to be, house had to be perfect, body had to be perfect, everything had to be just so. And that's just not even the case. But people can go to my website, ColleenOdegaard.com. Best of luck to you spelling my name, friends. It's very difficult to spell. You can find me on Instagram at Colleen_Odegaard. If you go to my website or my Instagram, there's a link to my Calendly. You can just schedule a free 30-minute call with me, see if we vibe, see if you want to work together, and we take it from there.
And our last name is Odegaard, but this is all in show notes, so you can literally swipe up. If this was refreshing and you needed this, let's pass this on so more people can get some of the feeling you're feeling right now while listening to this episode. Take a screenshot, share it in your Instagram, Facebook stories, tag me at ProjectME with Tiffany, tag Colleen at Colleen_Odegaard. If you're multitasking right now, which we know you are, just tag me and then I'll reshare it and make sure that I tag Colleen so she can get to know you guys better as well. And Colleen answers her DMs. So if there's something that you want to say and reach out to her, something you appreciated about the episode, it's not one of those people where you feel nervous. Like, oh my God, Colleen's like a famous person. And if I reach out to her, she's going to blow me off. She doesn't. But I understand the fear because a lot of them do. I've DM'd a lot of people who don't reply. And guess what? Sorry, sweet titties. Now you don't get to be on my podcast anymore. These are people like early on before my show was popular.
Right.
That totally ignored me. And I asked genuine questions, gave them multiple chances and totally ignored me. And it was like, well, thank you for showing me who you are.
That's right. That's right. You are so genuine though. That's why you do so well. That's why your podcast is so kick-ass. You're real and you don't circle talk. You give people real stuff. I tell everybody starting a business to listen to your podcast. I tell everybody period to listen to your podcast. It's so good. I love it. I
feel the same way about your show. That's why I was so emphatic about you starting it because it's needed with all the crap going on in the world. And we're being fed so much propaganda on every which side and it's nonstop to just have a moment, have a half an hour, a couple times a week where it's someone who is really walks their walk, talks their talk, is really who they are. That if you met Colleen for a coffee, she's the same person, right? A lot of these people are not. I've met a lot of them. Totally not the same person. She is the same exact person. I would add this to your lineup without a doubt. Feed yourself stuff that helps your mind look for why you should go after it, not stuff that puts you into comparisonitis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Any final words of wisdom for our people who are like doing the yeah buts right now? Yeah, but you and Colleen, you guys were newscasters and you and Colleen this and that. Any words?
And I know they're thinking that. I know there are some people who think that for sure. That was people thought, well, you're a broadcaster. Of course your podcast is doing well. No, not necessarily. That didn't guarantee that people would like it. I mean, it could suck, it could be terrible. It could have tanked. Yeah, the people who are saying, yeah, but please just come back to this. Like I said, please watch your thoughts. Learn this skill to observe your mind, to observe the things you're thinking. If you think that sounds hippy dippy and like meditation, well, it is meditation. And if you think I can't meditate because my mind is so busy, then you need to meditate more. I didn't think I could meditate either. The point of meditation isn't that you're like kumbaya, zen, and still and thinking nothing. You train your brain to come back to the present moment. Come back to the present moment. So watch what it is that you're thinking. Create some distance between you and your thoughts if your thoughts are not serving you. Do that and always come back to this present moment. If you're spinning out in anxiety and flipped out, remember that you are safe and you are held and you are loved. And come back to that. No, ask yourself, do I have what I need in this moment? Yes, I do. Stop wishing these moments of your life away. These moments, even the ones that seem mundane and unimportant, these are the things that make up our lives, you know? So yeah, just watch your thoughts, watch your thinking.
Oh my God, that was beautiful. Thank you for taking the time to come on. I adore you.
Are you kidding me? When you asked me, I was like, oh my God, my girl crush is asking me to be on her podcast. I can't believe it. My favorite podcast. I get to be a guest. So thank you. I am honored. And I really love you. Like, you are a very influential person in my life.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm humbled and honored, and I take that in. I would have normally in my past not taken that in, you know, because I would have been like, well, that can't be true. Right. But I take that in. I know, and I take it seriously. So I feel you, and I appreciate you, and I adore you. Have a beautiful day, love.
You too.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.